House suspend the rules and pass H.R. 1837, the United States-Israel Cooperation Enhancement and Regional Security Act as amended.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 1837, a bill to make improvements to certain defense and security assistance provisions and to authorize assistance for Israel and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Engel, and the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York.
I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on H.R. 1837.
Without objection, so ordered.
I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I submit in the congressional record an exchange of letters between me and the chairs of the Committees on Judiciary, Agriculture, Energy and Commerce, Veterans Affairs, Transportation and Infrastructure, Homeland Security, and Science, Space and Technology on H.R. 1837. Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of the United States-Israel Cooperation Enhancement and Regional Security Act. I want to start by thanking Mr. Deutsch and Mr. Wilson for their extraordinary leadership in crafting this measure. This is another piece of bipartisan legislation that underscores the vitality and bipartisanship of the U.S.-Israel relationship. The centerpiece of this bill is a provision that writes into law the 10-year Memorandum of Understanding President Obama signed with Israel before he left office. The legislation also enhances U.S.-Israel cooperation on a wide range of issues, from helping veterans confront issues with PTSD, to advancing space cooperation, to developing new ways to get clean water. In addition, the bill advances other critical priorities. It helps ensure that the families of American victims of terrorism will get their day in court, so they can finally see some justice after their loved ones were so cruelly taken from them. And it includes a legal fix that will restore U.S. assistance to Palestinians that has been cut off in recent months. When I traveled to the West Bank in May, I saw the impacts of the funding cut firsthand. I visited a water treatment system in Jericho that is ready to go into place, already paid for by the United States. But because of legislation Congress passed last year, they can't take the tiny extra step needed to get it up and running. We also met with people seeking to enhance tolerance and understanding between Palestinians and Israelis, exactly the sort of peace-building efforts we should be supporting, unlike the BDS movement. These have all had to stop work due to the assistance cut. In addition, I met with American military officials who are deeply concerned about the suspension of security assistance to the Palestinians and the implication of that for Israel's security. So I'm pleased that the legislation before us today provides a fix for this unsustainable situation. And with that, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to place into the record 2 pieces that argue that we must restore this assistance now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a strong bipartisan bill that advances the U.S.-Israel relationship. I again want to thank Representatives Deutsch and Wilson for their leadership, as well as all the other members who contributed to this fine piece of legislation. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from